Hey, ladies and gentlemen, Coach Zach here. Quarantine Fit day number 5. How the hell you doing? Are you surviving? You asking yourself why you married him or her, or why you had kids in the first place? All right, earlier today I posted a video on cardio. I hope that made sense. The cardio routine that we did was hill sprints, with the sprints being quotation marks based on your individual level. We're going to move into today's workout, which is going to revisit our overhead press, but programmed differently than the first day. So we're going to be adding a little bit more density like we did yesterday, so it's going to be a little more challenging. We're going to add some volume too. Firstly, our movement prep, I'm going to walk through that for one round. We're going to start with sun salutations again with my twisting motions that I like to add. Again, if you need props, get whatever you need, yoga blocks, boxes. The range of motion doesn't matter. What matters is your ability to relax into it, okay? So, we want to maintain our deep diaphragmatic breathing the whole time. I don't want to be breath holding. I don't want to start to tense to get through the movements. I need to keep my body relaxed and flowing. Inhale up. Extend backwards as best you can by shifting the hips forward. Think about your spine getting long. Back of the head up and back of the head also facing behind you. Start to come down. That's where I like to add those arm rotations in. The old walk like an Egyptian movement. Back palm up. Front palm up. This one rotating. A couple of these. Those are addressing our fascial arm lines, and I'm going to continue to exhale down. I'm not going to force my toe touch. I'm just going to breathe and find the range of motion that I can control. Step back, plant the hands inside the foot. In this position, I can really start to push this opposite hip flexor down. Front heel stays connected to the ground. Knee will go out. Think of squatting or deadlifting. It's going to be aimed over that third toe. And I'm just relaxing into it. I can start working my chest up as I pump my hip down and this knee out. I'm going to add a rotation in here. My left foot is forward. I'm going to plant my right hand. My neck is loose, very important. I don't want to shrug at any point in time. I'm going to slowly inhale, slide that arm up. I'm going to check my neck again to make sure I'm loose. Slide back down. Exhale. When I'm here, you're going to really start to see my personal movement limit, as you're going to see my tight calves coming into play. So I'm going to sit here and do a round or so of breathing. Just work one heel to the ground very slowly. Get a nice long stretch and switch. As you can see, my downward dog is not the best. Work in progress. That's why the daily practice is needed. When I'm ready, I'm going to exhale. Upward dog. I'm going to add another rotation in this position. I forget the name of it, but I saw Pavel Sassoulin do it years ago. I'm going to start to keep my rotate. If I need to, I can put my knees on the ground. If this position strains your back or your neck, then I would just drop all the way down here to what's comfortable that you can hold. While you breathe deeply and while your neck stays loose. So I'm going to be here, I'm going to rotate, I'm going to try to look at my opposite ankle. These are starting to open up my spiral and sideline fascial lines. Exhale, come back to downward dog. After I relax fully into this, I'm going to inhale and bring this opposite foot forward. If you have to, if that transition is too difficult, re-posture, do whatever you need to do to safely bring that forward, even if that means coming down, walking here, okay? The transitions are where it gets tricky, because if you're not used to stabilizing on just one limb or stabilizing on a foot and a hand, you can lose your balance. Left hand down, right foot forward. Keeping that leg long while working that hip crease down towards the ground. Working my right knee out over my third toe. opening up my right glute and hip while I'm also opening up this hip, my hip flexor, sorry. Left hand down, right foot stable, slide up with the breath. Check my neck for tension, it's good. Step through. As you can see, my toe touch got longer just by going through that first round. When I come up, I like to bend the knees just so I unload the back, put my loading on my legs. If you're a beginner, this is going to save your lower back. One or two arm rotations, and I'm done. Now I would repeat that. One round of sun salutations is going back to that same sequence in reverse. So I would go back down here, go back through the sequence, finish here, and then come back up. If you need to, if you find some really bad trigger points doing that, that's where we're going to start rolling. Use whatever soft tissue ball you have. If all you have is a foam roller, that's okay. It's just going to be harder to get really refined targeted movements, so make sure you have some sort of ball to roll out. After that, I'm going to come into my supine squats. I demonstrated these in day number 2. Here's a little refresher. Band or a rope, belt, anything I can put some tension on. If you have an overly curved lower back, you're going to need to support that. So if my back is very rounded and I cannot get my back flat on the ground, I'm not going to be able to do this. So what I would do is I would take a towel and I would fold up the towel so that I have a little extra pressure between my band and my floor like this. So that my lower back goes on top of that, okay? So we're here in my lower back. I'm pressurizing down, pinching that. I have full tension on this band. That's not going to go anywhere as I start to do my leg movements. Nice and slow. You don't want to use speed on any time you're trying to stabilize your trunk because that's cheating. I want to make sure that my pelvic floor is working, that my transverse abdominis is working, which is the internal weight belt throughout my midsection. Eventually I'm going to progress up to doing full squats with both legs at the same time while being able to keep that pressure. If you have a blood pressure cuff handy, post below. I'll send you some special instructions on how to use a blood pressure cuff. You can make that really refined and interesting. Shoulder dislocates, same thing. Band or my rope. I'm going to pull out. Shoulders stay down and back. No shrugs. No collapsing of the spine like this. I'm staying nice and tall, engaged here, tight. You can even check this. I've been showing during my first few days how to check things with the yoga block. And this one's no different. Anytime I want to make sure I'm planking right, I can use a cushion or a yoga block between the legs. Crush the thighs inward. That's making sure that my pelvic floor and my abs are turned on as hard as they can be. Nice and tall. Pull out. I'm pulling out as I come over, and that keeps my arms straight. I'm not bending the arms. I'm keeping them locked out. And then you're adjusting for the amount of tension that you need. Again, belts, ropes, whatever you need to use to complete this. Okay? 5 to 10 of those. If a blatant trigger point is popping up, let's address it. We're going to move into our strength work. Overhead press. I'm going to grab the weight that I have determined as my 8 rep max weight. And we're going to do sets of 4 to 6. We're going to explore with the same postures that we used day number 2. So the first one's going to be this kneeling posture. The wider I go, the more base. The narrower I go, the more stability challenge it is. So when I start to get into some strength work, when I'm kneeling, I want to have a decent amount of base. You can also take this back leg and kind of wiper it over the midline a little bit. Okay, find where I'm nice and stable. We haven't gone over breathing yet, but my breaths are short and powerful. I'm inhaling, that keeps my ab tension. I'm tight. I just briefly exhale. When I'm inhaled, I'm like 90 to 100% here, okay? when I exhale at the top, I am only exhaling to about 70-80%. So it's a very fast inhale and a very brief inhale. That keeps the tension in the trunk, which is our main focus when we're under load lifting. Okay? 4 to 6 reps on each arm. A fine point, I always want to start with my non-dominant hand. I'll have more energy and strength to apply to my non-dominant side than vice versa. So always start with your non-dominant side first if you're working in a single arm movement. Single leg deadlift, 2 to 4 reps. Most people, I would start on their lighter weight. So this is the weight that's a little under half of my 8 rep pressing weight that we use for overhead cardio. And the easiest single leg deadlift again will be that when I plant my foot, I use the opposite hand and load it. So my left foot is planted. Come on down. Okay, so I'm here. Sorry about that. Let's take care of something real quick. My hips are level. I'm not letting my hips rotate up or down. They're nice and level. If this position is too hard to get into, don't worry about the depth. And instead, just focus on that pendulum motion. Knee going out over the third toe. I maintain a little contact with that toe. And I balance as low as I can go. Right there. 2 to 4 reps on each side. If those are too easy, you can start making it more challenging. You can test same hand to same leg. For some people, these are easier. You can test starting to go across this leg. I can test by putting it all the way on the ground, and I can pick it up and I can try to change every single time. Okay, there's lots of good ways to cook that. Last part, my section number 2, I'm going to do 3 to 8 rounds. And the very last part of that is going to be my quadruped plank. Knees up. Right here, just about a quarter to a half inch off the ground. Rock back and forth, find the angle where I feel all the load in my trunk and not in my legs. Hold that. If this is super easy, then I'm going to keep my knees from popping up. I never want them to start jumping like this. I want to keep the knees low. I can start doing some side movements, some lateral movements, some forward and some back movements. I'm going to push that to about 90%. When I'm really close and attached to the ground like that, that's my time to really challenge myself. It's very safe if I go to an all-out effort here and I'm shaking and everything's starting to fall apart. That's all I have to do to come out of the movement. Much safer than being in a different posture. After I do 3 to 8 rounds, depending on fatigue, I want to stop before, as my power, my speed starts to drop, that's when I'm going to just stop that second section. If everything's pretty crisp, you can go up to 8 rounds. If you start to lose around round 3 or 4 or 5, whatever, stop early, save that power for tomorrow. Last thing is going to be a cook carry. 10 to 15 minutes. Here's the sequence. I take my lighter pressing weight. I'm going to lock it overhead. Lock my elbow out. Take this thumb and tilt it up towards the sky like I'm the Statue of Liberty. Can't get all my arm on camera. And I'm just going to walk. Back and forth, go around the room you're in. When I start to get fatigued, before I start leaning, or before my arm starts bending, before any of that happens, I bring it down into the rack position like when I military press, and I'm going to keep walking and carrying. I'm going to get fatigued there. Again, before I start bending or losing my posture, I'm going to, with both hands, bring it down into a suitcase variation. And I'm going to finish off this side. And finally, when I get fatigued on this side, I switch my hands. And I'm going to revisit that whole sequence. Overhead, as long as I can with good form and good posture. Rack carry, as long as I can. And finally, suitcase. That's only going to probably take a couple minutes on each arm. So you can go through each arm 2 or 3 times. You're going to find your heart rate's elevated the whole time, but not to a capacity where I'm losing my breath. Please post those questions or comments down below. I'll screenshot this workout board that I put together. Ask away. This will be in my group along with detailed instructions coming out this week. And enjoy. Please share this message. It helps me and my family in my gym right now, so I sincerely appreciate it. This program is going to build really high levels of strength. It may not seem like a lot, but it's very targeted and focused. and we're gonna be able to make some really good body composition changes, and we're gonna be able to acquire some really great strength over the upcoming weeks. So please share. Thank you, go make a great day, bye.